Call the Destin Fire Control District Board of Fire Commissioners to order. We're at 848 Airport Road here in Destin, January 12, 2021. Time is 5:30 p.m. This meeting is open to the public. And at this time, we would like to form elections of the officers, chairperson, co-chairperson, and treasurer, and secretary and treasurer. So I'd entertain
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion, we just keep the same.
I'll second that.
Good.
everybody in agreement? All right, take a vote, all in favor?
Okay.
Yes.
Can you list them out for the record, please?
Oh, for the record, it'd be chairperson, myself, Rick Moore, co-chairperson, Tommy Green, secretary treasurer would be Jack Wilson. And I have the honor of appointing the Employee Relations Commissioner, which currently is Commissioner Buckingham. Would you like to continue with that role?
Please, thank you.
All right. I shall appoint you the same Employee Relations Commissioner.
Thank you.
All right, Chief, employee recognitions?
Yes, we don't really have any employees to recognize, although I would like to, at this moment, let the board know we had our inspection from the state for our technical rescue team. They came in and performed that yesterday. They were very impressed with our equipment and the trailer, as well as the records for the team and all the training that the individuals, of course, there's a certain amount of training just to be part of the team, but as organized as our team was, and able to produce any information that they needed. So they were very impressed with our setup and especially our equipment and trailer that this board helped to obtain with your votes and support. So with that said, I know that you all have seen the logo that we had that's on the trailer, and that we had purchased some t-shirts for those that are on that team to wear, that shows that they're a part of our technical rescue team. With that said, we wanted to make sure that we showed our appreciation for the commission's support. And again, it's a very small token, but that's why we have these here and provide the board with t-shirts with our logo on them.
Nice.
And as you'll see, it's got specialty rescue with commissioner. So
Cool.
I think there's a pretty cool shirt.
Those are
And
very
we thought you all would like it. We took liberty of, Ms. Tammy knows your sizes, so she made sure she got the right ones. And if that's all right, I'd like Ms. Tammy, she wouldn't mind to pass these out to them so they each have it so they can kind of see it.
Well, thank you.
She knows your sizes.
Yeah, thank you, Chief. Appreciate it.
Thank y'all. And again, we're very appreciative of the support. The state was very impressed with our team, our trailer. And we should be receiving the letter next week that officially puts us on the roster to be able to be deployed and recognized as a technical rescue team.
Awesome.
So we haven't got it yet, but they said they see no problem with it. We just have to wait for the official letter. We should arrive next week. So, but we want to make sure you all got this because,
Thank you very much.
you know, it shows your support for us and our support for you guys.
So our team now is deployable.
Next, after we get the letter, we'll be eligible to be deployed. Yes, sir. Absolutely. So long before hurricane season starts, but it's not just that. It's that team has the ability to do, as you know, any type of rescue. It doesn't necessarily have to be hurricane related.
State emergencies and stuff.
It could be that a home and rescue collapse because of a gas explosion, and there are people trapped inside. Our folks with the equipment they have and the training they have can go up there and rescue those people out from underneath a collapsed concrete, whatever structure.
Where's the closest one besides us now?
There are 4 similar teams to us in the region. We actually have one on either side of us. South Walton has a team. Ocean City has a team. We have one, obviously. So our area, and Panama City has one, and Escambia County has one. So we make the 5th team in this area. We've requested to have the number because we're Region 1. We're in the 100 series of teams, and we've requested the number 109. They don't believe there's going to be an issue with that. We had got the official notification of what the numbers going to be. Well, we did request 109 because our 9 goes with everything with us. And all the teams in Region 1 are 100 series. Region 2, same thing, 2, and so on and so forth, for the 7 regions in the state.
So everything in the panhandle that is south of I-10?
Yes.
That's really weird.
Right?
Just an observation, yeah.
Yeah, it's very true. Yes, that's correct. Mhm. So, our team probably has more technicians than any of the other teams in the region. Just with this first group of 8 that we ran through, we ended up having 8 technicians. Most teams don't train their guys all the way up to the technician level. We require that. To be deployed, you only have to have 2 technicians and the rest can be operations level. So a lot of the other teams in the area have a lot of ops guys, and not as many technician guys as we have. So,
I got a question just came up. Paramedics,
yes, sir.
how many on that team of ours is paramedics?
I really hadn't sat down with the numbers, but there's, of the initial 8 that were trained, I'd probably say 3 or 4,
I think 3.
almost about 50%.
Now, how about other teams in the area? Do they have paramedics on them?
Oh, I'm sure, I wouldn't know what the percentage is.
I was
but
just curious.
Because
They have
all the
skills too to offer during.
Panama
scenes
City,
stuff.
Panama City probably doesn't because they don't run the ELS, I don't think. But the others would, cities in the ELS department, Southwalk, those other teams are all ELS departments. So I would think that it's going to have a mixture of paramedics on that team. Not that they necessarily that they looked for that.
It's good to have.
Oh, absolutely, for sure. Absolutely, yeah. Because that'll probably be the person that will, let's say we're going to put somebody over an edge or put them down in a hole or be the first one to make patient contact.
Mhm.
We're going to pull that technician out that's a paramedic and they're probably going to be the person who's going to make
Right.
patient contact so that they can utilize their skills to assess the patient.
Right.
And then help from that point, then we decide how we're going to do everything from there. So,
That's good.
for sure, yeah. No, and there'll be more, because some of those that we have right now that are going, that are on the team are going through, and will be on the team. There's a couple that will be on the team. They're going to paramedic class right now. So we got 3 individuals going to paramedic class, and they come out, we'll have even more.
It's good.
What are we doing, Chief, to make our taxpayers aware of this new capability, the new equipment, all that stuff?
Well, once we get our letter, we're going to announce it again on Facebook, as we've kind of done before. We'll do it again, that we've officially been recognized. We had thought about in the spring, putting on something like we have here with a open house, but this time featuring more of our specialty rescue and our capabilities and maybe showing some demonstrations and stuff like that, having an open house and be able to demonstrate that
Good enough.
in the spring.
Yeah, if everything goes right tomorrow, I meet with Jeff and we're gonna order the truck tomorrow. So if we get the truck coming, then we can hook onto this trailer.
Yep.
And like Chief said, set it out here and do an open
We'll
house.
drag it around town a bit, and people will
Exactly.
notice it. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure, right now it's been sitting in the back because, instead of the guys having to haul it from the back and front, back and forth, they just in the back because they were still doing some fine tuning on, building their own rack systems and everything, have everything stored in there, and they've really got it organized. Then the individual came up and performed our inspection, was really impressed with the organization of the track. He took a lot of pictures. He said some of it is for official use, and he said some of it, it's just, I think it's great what you're doing and how you set some things up. And he wants to show it to some of the other teams around the state, how they were thoughtful in putting certain things a certain way, and building and stuff that they did as far as racks is concerned. So, and I say that meaning that it's only sitting in the back right now because we're working on it, finishing this fine tune. We're going to pull it back around front and have it sit next to the road so that people can see that we do have the capability. Hopefully ask the question when they drive by, maybe ask us the question or whatever. So it'll kind of draw a little bit of attention to it. But the thought was if we could put on some type of open house and maybe demonstrate the skills that those fellows have learned.
Has any
Make
of
sure
y'all
we
not seen
don't
it?
keep this a big secret.
I did.
No, sir, not at all. Absolutely not.
We need the paper valve too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If y'all haven't
And
been in
Channel
it
3.
and seen it, y'all need to go look at it, because it's impressive inside.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Brian Weiland, one of our engineers, been here 19 years. Really took a lot of pride and ownership in setting the interior of the trailer up, and,
It's nice.
and he built a lot of the racks. There's some we store bought, obviously, but there were some specialty so that we have spreader bars and we have feet, and it's how they're stored and it's organized. And he went through and took a lot of pride and ownership in developing all of it. So when you see it, you'll see what I'm talking about when you get in there, how we store struts and the feet for the struts and all that. It's just pretty neat how he put a lot of thought into it, and then he helped create it. So
It's
you
impressive.
see it.
Yeah,
So
very.
a lot of effort, a lot of pride and ownership. And I'm very appreciative of what the board has done and allowed us to accomplish, because for our folks that are part of that team, they've taken a lot of pride and ownership in this team that we have. They really have. We're very proud of this team.
Nice. All right, good. Well, at this time, I'd like to open the floor up for public comments. So if anybody from the public would like to speak. Seeing none, the floor is closed. Public comments. Review the minutes, regular meeting, December 8th, 2020. And the special meeting of December 23rd, 2020. So we'll review those and entertain a motion for both.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes of December 8th and December 23rd.
Second.
I got a motion to approve the regular meeting, December 8th, and the special meeting, the 23rd, and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, take a vote. All in favor? Unanimous. Review the financial report for December 31st, 2020.
Financial report before you is closing of the first 3 months of the fiscal year. They're very clean financial reports. There's nothing out of the ordinary in any of the expenditure category. Revenues are, ad valorem taxes are coming in. We just received over $1 million in January. So the reports look good. I have no concerns to present to the board.
So moved.
Second.
All right, got a motion to approve in a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, take a vote. All in favor? Approve. Unanimous. All right, let's talk about the old business, West End District Station update. I'd like to report we did close on time like we set out to do.
Yes, we did.
So we now are owners of the Big House property.
Yeah, 127 Calhoun.
Yeah, 127 Calhoun.
Mm.
So the public should be proud of the property that we were able to purchase and give them a quick response on the water and on the west end of town, like we set out to do. So I'm pleased and happy that everybody was able to make it happen.
Were we able to set it up where we could contract out for this?
Working with the chief on it right now. I've spent quite a bit of time with the engineer on it to come up with a footprint. And the chief has it, going over a few things with him. Once we get that narrowed down, my advice to this board is to let's get rolling on that, because it's gonna be time. It's a minimum of 3 months to get a permit out from the city. If we continue it in a minor development, then we should have something within 6 months. If we do a major development, it could be up to a year before we get a permit whatsoever. And then it's completely redo the project. So I think, and I'll let others speak, but I think if we keep it minor and do what we originally thought, then we should be able to get permitting and hopefully a contractor at the time, or how we figure we're gonna do it in-house, whatever we're gonna do, by June 30th. So July 1st, we can move forward and get this thing rolling. Speaking with the chief, correct me if I'm wrong, chief, I think he feels comfortable that July 1st, that somehow, some way, he's gonna make it happen and have a truck there. So we will start providing service on that side of town the day we pick that property up. Meanwhile, we will be doing construction, correct, chief?
Yes, sir, that's correct. I think, Commissioner Green, your question was whether or not we could contract out, or the question that we had after the last meeting, where DC was going to do some research and find out.
Right.
Yes. In reference to that, DC said yes, that we could, and kind of be our own contractor, and then use subs to do the other work, or us kind of being the overseers thereof. Unfortunately, DC's not able to be here. Good thing, I guess, his brother's getting married, depending on your perspective. But, so he's not able to be here tonight. But We did make sure that we got that answer from him, so we had that for the commission tonight, and he said, yeah, we could do that. Understanding though that if we're subbing out work, that work, if it's over 10 grand, we're going to have to RFP it out because it is over that. So instead of one RFP for a contractor, it'll be multiple RFPs for multiple subs. So if we're contracting out the concrete work, that's one RFP, electrician, a plumber, whatever it is, each one of those is gonna have to be.
Does that take longer to do?
That's what I'm saying.
It'll take a lot longer
It
for the RFP process.
Yeah, it would take longer for the RFP, but, if we're gonna do, and I'm just gonna put a simple in black and white. If we're gonna do a concrete block building, we're gonna do concrete floor. You would take all the concrete work and put it out in one RFP.
Okay.
Then you would do electrical, you'd do a plumbing, and then you would do a window and door. You're gonna have maybe 6 of them that you would have to put out. So, that,
But
to
they
me,
would all go out at the same time.
all of them go at the same time.
Yeah.
All of them go at the same time, so.
Yeah, it's not do this and then do that.
No.
It'd be all at one time.
I would like to work with the chief, to the point where everything is laid out and then he has the ladies just send them out and we get them all back on one time. And hopefully, we can, address it to the more local area contractors.
And that'll be the board's decision that, just like we do on any other, when an RFP comes in, the board gets to make a decision. They don't always have to take the cheapest,
Sure.
they pick the one that you think.
Don't you have to have a general contractor though first?
No.
No? We can do our own thing?
Well, we have a contractor actually pull the permit
Permit.
itself.
Okay.
I can do it under my partner's license, but I don't know if it would be good for me to do that for the district. I don't know that.
No.
But that's a DC
Yeah,
question.
we'd have to check on that one.
But then again, all of these things, guys, is time. So the first thing we gotta do is get the foundation. The foundation is getting the footprint of the building, get the building figured out, so we can go get a permit for it.
Right,
Because we can't bid anything without having
the footprint.
something here for them to say,
Yeah.
bid this. So my advice is, let's get rolling on the building because it's time. Our biggest stop sign is gonna be with the city. So, not down in the city, just saying that they're so far behind that time is getting the permit. Once we get the permit, then if we wanna get one contractor and let him do it all, or if we want to sub it out ourselves and do, 6 different, or that's up to this board. My advice is get the permit. You've got to get the permit.
It'll be next year.
If you guys haven't seen the blueprints yet that were submitted, and thank you for all your hard work, appreciate that. But I have some issues with it, like to see some changes on it. So I would like everybody to get a chance to take a look at it and put their input in. Maybe, can we have a special meeting as a group maybe and come together with some kind of blueprint to make this speed up? Because the way it's submitted now, I like to see some changes made on that. And I'm gonna have my son who's an engineer and he's gonna make up some designs for me to also submit. And if he can't do it, then I would like the board to request, have me go to Jenkins and have my idea of conception, what I want done too, so we have some comparison, if that's okay with the board.
Is it a workshop we can do, maybe?
Yeah, sure, we can
Yeah.
do a workshop, we can do, as long as we advertise it and all that,
Yeah.
the board is, this will be public, just kind of like we are doing these meetings, it'd be the same thing.
Right.
It would just be specifically to talk about the station design and, and the board's thoughts, so that way we have a direction.
I'll tell them to get equipment.
I would recommend us do that so that everybody can give their input.
I think it's a great
and have
idea.
something in front of us that
Right.
we can,
Right.
I agree.
we can
I
look
think it's a
at.
great idea. I just think that we need to get the meeting going.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, because we're on record and I'm telling y'all, I know the timing that it's gonna take to get this permit. And I know this board well enough, when it comes down time to us getting possession of the property, this board's gonna wanna move and it's gonna take time.
We've been waiting 3 years now, so nothing really gonna hurt.
Well, I mean, that's your opinion. I don't think we'll wait another year.
Well, I agree, I want it done yesterday, but
Right.
I want it done right.
I mean, can we have
I
a
want it done
meeting
right the first time.
within a week or two?
Within 10 days, I can have a meeting, and that's just advertising, that's the only thing that holds us back from there.
Yeah,
You pick a date,
evening or mid-morning
Whatever
or?
works for this board, I'm with.
and you pick a date that's 10 days out, that way, that's all we need is a requirement to be able to get it advertised. Give us about 11 days and we're good.
Just make it happen.
Yeah, let's do it. make it happen.
Okay, I'll coordinate with the chairman and we'll pick a date and the time and we'll have it.
Do what's
It's convenient
best
for
for
everybody.
everybody.
And we'll advertise it. I will say that Commissioner Buckingham didn't make the comment, and he's right, because I've said it a couple of times, and I'll just reemphasize it, is that my thought, unless this board directs me otherwise, is that as soon as we have possession of those keys and that's our property, we're gonna respond out of that station.
Bingo.
I don't, for a period of time, that truck to sit outside, it's okay. The folks can live in the station. I assure you, we can operate out of that station or out of that property, out of that building with that and respond out there. And we'll be ready to go by July 1st. We'll have we've already worked on how we're gonna cut the district and that particular district over there and their response areas and all that. All that's already been worked out. So we'll be ready to go.
So you can already have the equipment lined out,
Right.
take over their day one and set
Exactly.
up
So we'll be prepared to go.
all that stuff.
I didn't want this board, we're not holding off because of construction or any of that. We're going to move in and provide service. We bought the property. We have a place for the guys and gals to be able to sleep and respond out of. We'll be ready to go July 1.
Hey, Mike, can you
And
talk
wave
about,
runners.
can you talk to Mike Schutz and see if we can get it a bit earlier than July 1st, maybe?
I've asked him 2 or 3 times. He knows that we're anxious, so he knows he's got to the 30th. I don't know if what their schedule, what they've already got booked. I don't know that. But he knows that we want in as soon as possible.
Mike,
So,
did we get a resolution on the coming soon sign we talked about putting out front?
you mean as far as the sign?
Yeah.
No, but good point, Jack. If this board would like to direct me to get with Mike to allow us to put a sign up there, I'll be more than happy to be on that.
I thought we did that last meeting.
We did?
Yeah.
It's okay. Now, my ball's in the air.
Well, Jack, I appreciate that. I will be on that tomorrow
I
morning.
mean, the reservation would still exist is, it may be, and somehow not attractive for Mike in running the wedding crap he's doing
Right.
there. But if there's some way we can do something, the whole point is, and a lot of people drive by that property every
Right.
day. It'd be good to start getting a little buzz going.
Would
Two
you
more
mind giving me the language of how you want it to sound? In other words, the West End coming soon or whatever?
Coming
that-
soon, yeah.
That's
Whatever you want to call the firehouse.
Yep.
Okay.
That's the fire station.
And it's just a sign that tells people, this is the property. You know, we're
Future,
gonna be-
future site of.
Yeah.
Future home with the Destin Fire Control
Yeah,
District.
It'd be great if we had an artist
Will you-
rendering.
will you
of it.
I'll work on
Mosaic and-
Get it-
Substation or something like that.
I'll get it maintained.
Yeah, just figure out when, yeah. Second question, can we get the boat in residence before July 1st?
Probably not, because that's where they have the weddings out there. I mean, I'll
On
ask.
the
but-
docks?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
The backdrop. is-
I'm going to have to ask, but I doubt it.
This is the big one here, and I wish DC were here, maybe Chief or Catherine know. But when we're an independent district enabled and authorized by the state legislature, to what degree are we subservient to the rules, regulations of the city of Destin?
Good question.
As far as building, is that what you're
If-
saying?
Open question.
Oh.
Can they tell us we can't take a tree down because Parks and Rec doesn't like it? Can they
That's a
tell
very
us
good
that,
question.
I mean, do we have to get a building permit from them?
Very good question.
Okay.
Well,
In the past, we have.
I'll venture, but I'll get an official answer. I'll venture one, but then we'll get the actual attorney says.
But yeah, we need to look at the enabling legislation.
Yes,
And if it doesn't say that, if we're in their city limits, that we have to do whatever they tell us to do, then that may save us some time, is my point.
Yeah, because there is a state minimum that you have to build to, period. Okay?
That's fine, we can do that.
Exactly. And I know that other government entities, don't have to, so that's a very good question.
Okay, I'm not trying to create a problem with the city, I'm just saying,
Timing.
don't be subservient to them if we aren't.
Good point.
no, I
Okay.
agree. I agree.
DC's.
I'm sure there's some
That's an
Very interesting question.
but it's a good question.
I think the city would have a different answer, Parks and Rec would certainly have a different answer, because the Calhoun Park the Clement Taylor Park is right next door. You wouldn't want to take trees down, because I know there's a tree right now on our property where the fence goes around, that's got to go anyway.
Right, sooner or later,
Yeah.
it's gonna happen.
Okay.
Right, good questions.
And we, just keep in mind, we do want to be good neighbors, of course.
Sure, of course we do.
Of course, Jack, right? Go ahead, I want to hear it.
No, I'm not dead serious. We ought to be good neighbors, but that doesn't mean we crawl to the city and ask for permission. Yeah, we don't need to do that.
Right,
I like that.
okay, fair enough.
I like it.
Since we're talking about the West End Station, and the boat does go into that station, do we have an update yet on that boat?
You know, yeah, that it's in Seattle, and I mean, it's just in Washington State, and they fell behind when they started closing stuff down up in Washington. So it is in line, but their line was stopped. I mean, full stop, nothing happening for a period of time. So we are in line. But I don't, it's not, I wouldn't anticipate it within the next, 2 weeks. I think we're probably gonna end up getting it about the time spring break starts. But I'm not exactly sure for
And
sure.
if we do that, I'll be happy.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, if in beginning of March, not necessarily, because there is some trickling in spring break in February, but I would anticipate hopefully by the beginning of March. If Seattle, if Washington State doesn't do any more closures or any of that, then that's what I would hope for.
Where are they in Washington?
They are in Washington State, yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's a big state. Where?
Right outside Seattle,
Okay,
I'm not
so
sure
they're-
the exact.
Well, they're not, they're in the city limits. So for some reason, the West Coast is just taking a whole different view on this COVID thing.
Yes, sir.
And if you get over on the East Range in Washington, it's a whole different political environment over there.
It just goes that
That's a
little
whole
mountain
bunch of
range,
farmers
whatever.
and all that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you get on the east side of the mountains, and
Right.
it's a whole different world.
Yeah, my son's told me about that.
Yeah.
You cross over the mountains and it's something different.
Yeah, it could be a different state.
It's like that in California, Southern California, they don't take it as big a deal. We were out there for 12 days. Northern California, man, they are strict.
Crazy.
Well, then, what I
I,
need to talk about then, and the next thing is.
Yes, sir.
We need a contingency in place just in case we don't have that boat.
yes, sir.
Like we went to Luther and let
Yes,
us
sir.
use the pontoon boat during that time period, jet skis, whatever.
Well, he said that he'd be more willing to help anytime in the future too.
Yeah, so we need to
Yeah.
look into that.
I'm
I'm sure
quite
you already
sure
own
that
that,
John, I'm quite sure that John will work with us.
Oh, he made that clear the other night.
Yeah,
when he was
so but I will.
Just don't want to blindside him.
There's two things I'll make sure of to provide you tomorrow, and that'll be an update on that boat. And I'll also let you know about the backup plan, so I'll have you those answers tomorrow.
Because that'll be here next meeting.
Now,
We're
as,
almost there.
as we talked about applying for a grant for a fireboat, so, and we are diligently working on that as, the days go by, because we anticipate that the filing time for that's going to be in February. And so we'll be applying for that, and I think it closes in like April. So, and it's kind of hard to tell when those things will be awarded and that kind of stuff. I would hope within a few months after that.
Yeah, just try to keep us updated on that boat if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, good deal. Anything else? All right, moving on to chief's reports, beach safety update.
As kind of mentioned to the commissioner before the meeting started, that Beach Safety Chief D'Agostino is out of town and will not be able to attend the meeting, which you'll see. And this is all season for him. So you see his comment on his report is that they're going to be doing their swim testing for all their employees in about 25 days. So I don't think by the end of this month, beginning of next month, they'll start testing folks to come back to work.
Would you know if we got to renew that deal with the, it's not the Y anymore, is it? It's,
That's the swim center?
Yeah, Denton Swim Center. Don't we have to renew that this year? For us to swim there?
I can't remember the length of the agreement that we have with them. I know that I signed the check the other day for to approve that payment. So when we signed that agreement, it was probably for a specific period of time.
Yeah, it may have been more than a year. I can't remember.
I'll verify and get back with you.
1 year. Okay, 1 year. So we just need to.
Yep. I'll get it back. Yep. Well, I'll make sure it does. Because our folks are very appreciative of that, because not only do our beach safety folks, but so do our fire folks utilize that and swim a couple of days a week. They're down there swimming, so it is a tremendous benefit to our people. loosen it.
Yeah.
They are, absolutely.
Good deal. Moving to the training report.
Yes, sir, you'll see, in the training report, they received 34 hours of training. Kind of bring a couple of things to light. They did road rescue ops training, which was actually a 40-hour class, although not all of them attended the full 40 hours. And the task force leadership, that was a 40-hour class that was held up here. We brought a company in to teach. That task force leader is part of our TRT. Our group took that class. You have to have a task force leader as part of the team, so we went ahead and said as many folks as wanted to take it could take it. So I thought that was two interesting points. And some of our folks actually taught the road rescue ops class. So that's not one we had to bring anybody in to teach. We actually used some of our folks to help teach it, which will reflect in the overtime report. The more we can do of that, which the more qualified our folks are, the more we can do where we can actually do our own training. Actually saves us money. Because instead of bringing a company in to teach it, our own folks to do it, I'd rather pay them a little bit as compared to paying another company, $400 a student. So, but you'll see, as far as training reports are concerned, you see 34 hours of training, which is above and beyond what we normally require.
I saw on Facebook where they were doing some training at the duck pond. That's true.
Yes, sir, sure did. And that'll reflect in next month's report. That's another one of those classes that were self-taught. We held it in-house. Our instructors taught it. They'll get state credit for it, and it'll go towards one of their certifications. Yeah, and it was at the duck pond. Now, we did get one of their folks come down and tell us the one was off the sidewalk, so we did have to shut it down. But we ended up moving down. We went down to Joe's Bayou, utilized that as well. There's another area we probably work with Destin Commons because they do have that pond. That's right, yes, sir, right next to the parking garage. I mean, the water's right there. It's easy to get to as far as drafting. But part of the class, it was a pump ops class. So it's all about pumping water out of the truck and although we don't routinely draft, that is a requirement for the class, is that they have to know how to draft. And they have to do, some part of it during this class. Hence the reason we were down there at the duck pond.
That's good. Good training.
Yes, sir, it was. And I think all of our employees, because that's actual hands-on stuff, and they love that. It's much better than being in the classroom.
Excellent. All right, inspection report.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. You have the report in front of you there. Not a whole lot to report right now. If you've had a chance to go by and look at the Charles, they have one of the buildings complete. They were setting them in place the other day. I went down and watched, and it's just amazing to watch that. They build the roof stuff off to the side and then set it on after. So, but one of them buildings is getting ready to, I'd say it will be final within the next couple weeks probably. And they'll move into the next ones. So, other than that, everything kind of got quiet for the new year, and now we're getting ready for it to kick off again.
Anybody told you lately, thank you?
Just you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank
Yeah. All right, anything?
Appreciate you, Matt.
Appreciate it. All right, moving on to overtime report, Chief.
Yes, sir, as mentioned in the training report, some of our own folks taught a couple of classes. You'll see that reflected again. It saves us money, and I'd rather pay our folks than if they're capable of doing it as compared to paying another company from the outside to come and teach it. And that's what you actually see there. Most of the time the report's pretty quiet. You don't see a lot of overtime. I want to make sure that you understood this is where this came from, this because we're teaching our own classes.
Well worth it.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
All right, moving into new business, new fire apparatus, and I put this on the agenda so that we can go ahead and discuss it. Last time I checked on it, the apparatuses are taking up to a year to get. Wow. So because of COVID, so I thought we need to go ahead and start planning, discussing finances and apparatuses. And I thought maybe we could get the salesman here for our next meeting, Chief.
I can if you'd like.
And so he can review with us the different ones that would work good for that station.
Okay,
Instead of us
absolutely.
trying to figure it out.
Would it be in our best interest if you're talking a year to go find something used for temporary, chief?
No, sir.
Okay.
I think we got a couple of standby.
Right, I prefer to, okay.
I was just talking about for
Yeah,
temporary.
No, sir, we're good.
Okay.
I've already got it figured out how we're gonna move the apparatus around and make things happen, so we can be operational come, 1 July. And then if it takes a year, it'll just be a year, and that truck that we're gonna put down there, it's gonna be a little bit bigger than what we were thinking, but it'll be down there, it'll be responding. Maybe we don't go down the driveway, we park out on the road, that'll just be what it is for a year. It still gets us there quicker, our response times are better. It's just operationally, if we had a fire on the water on Calhoun down one of the long driveways, we'll just do what we've been doing for right now, and that means the long driveway drill that we used to do years ago.
Right.
We still do it now. You know the one I'm talking about. So that means they have to take the 4-inch hose, 300 foot of it, drag it down the driveway, hook into it, and make things work. So we'll put that in operation. The bigger thing for me is we're down there, we're able to be there quicker, be able to go into action quicker. Although we can't, tactically get the larger apparatus down the driveways. In not all situations is it great for us to be down a driveway anyway. It's going to be situational based upon a lot of factors. So,
Well, thank you.
but I think the setup that we're going to have come 1 July as far as apparatus is concerned will serve us well until we're able to get this newer apparatus in, if it's a year or if it's, 14 months or whatever it might happen to be.
Good. Well, thank you.
I think we'll be good. Yes,
So
sir.
I think we can get that sales rep. I can't remember. his name.
Yes, sir. I'll get, Rob's his first name. I don't remember his last name, but yeah, we'll make contact with him and see if we can get him to be here at our next meeting. I'm sure he will.
And maybe he can be here at our special meetings if we're gonna talk about the building.
If you'd like to, see if we can get in on
If
that
he can
meeting.
come, we can do it.
That'd be
Do it all at the
great.
same time.
Yeah, I agree.
Because we can make sure that.
Kind of related.
You have to advertise for
We
it.
heard.
Yeah, we'll make sure we advertise it so that way we can have that discussion as well. Yeah.
And, well, check with him first, and then we'll schedule the meeting.
Yeah, because
If it's not too far out, he can
vehicle
join us.
before we build
Yeah.
the shop.
Well, the building's big though. The building,
The building houses, but it may,
Yeah, it's definitely gonna hold what we're gonna put in there. It'll hold what we got now.
it'd be good to have it all at the same time.
It would be good.
Good idea. Thank you.
Where
Yeah,
these are made in Wisconsin, is that right?
Yeah.
These are
Hamilton, Wisconsin.
yet another state that's
I've
had
been
its
there.
own issues with COVID beyond the norm.
I've been there.
It's a cool place.
Awesome operation.
Yeah.
You've all been in, Jack, you been there?
I've been to Wisconsin, but musky fishing, not fire truck.
Yeah, they,
You're next on the list to go then.
I'm in.
The fire truck stuff is cool.
Yeah, I bet it is.
same, is similar, as Mr. Wilson said about the shutdown, which is part of the reason why they're behind as far as they are. That's why we're looking at a year when normally it's 6 to 9 months.
Yeah.
Now it's up to a year because when they did shut it down, it backlogged everything, which then puts us behind on what order.
And who knows, but talking to him, they may have one already that somebody
Yeah,
got
very well
out of
could.
or something. You never know.
Sometimes they
That'd
will.
be great.
Yeah, because I don't know if they're actually selling as many as they were doing.
They can't be.
They can't be.
They may have some sitting there that they may want to get rid of. You
Well,
never
there is
know.
an,
Just gotta
there is an
conversation.
occasion in their assembly where they'll slide in a demo,
Right.
and they'll sell that demo. So,
Exactly.
you never know, but we'll find out. I'll talk to Rob and find out if that.
Because he knows what we talked about. in the
Yeah.
past, so.
That's right. So I'll make sure
See if
that
that's
he's
still
either
there.
here at our special meeting or he'll be at our next board meeting.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
All right, that's all I wanted to talk about, the new fire. And then the second was the financial side of it. Yeah, just, we need to start talking about it, so you may not be prepared for it right now, but just,
I can tell you that we have approximately 550,000 set aside for a new truck.
okay.
That's what we originally planned. Now, when I say set aside, We actually don't have impact fees anymore. We were hoping to hold impact fees, but since the purchase of the property changed, the truck will have to be financed now.
Right.
So, but that's what we built into the current budget.
Okay. What if we got a number in mind for the build out?
We did work on a number, not knowing, it's a WAG. But we initially come up with, when we were trying to budget this all out, we came up with 500 for the apparatus, then we came up with around $800,000 for the garage that we're talking about, or the bay or bays that we're talking about. So that's a rough number that we come up with. Because we really didn't know. So I wanted to make sure that we had enough to build a bay or a couple bays or something, if we want to go concrete.
And again, that budget was based off of utilizing impact fees.
Exactly.
So, whatever the board wishes to do, we'll work
That's
through
right.
to see, because everything has to be financed at this time, to see what our budget and future budgets can hold as
Right.
far as principal and interest payments.
However, I will say this, we, prior to us being placed in the situation that we were with the financing, we were going to finance the property at the 2.4, 2.5 mil. Or we had a different route. But when we were working on that, we identified where we could come up, where we were going to be able to draw that money to make that annual payment for the $2.4, $2.5 million loan. So we know that exists. We know that that's there. So I would say we know where that money exists to be able to pull a loan, if this board so chose, up to $2.5 million, and we know where we can get the annual payment from, because we've already identified that. Now, if you come back and say we're going to spend $3 million, then Catherine and I will go and identify the additional money it's going to take to make that additional $500,000 payment a year. But for right now, we can tell you that we have already identified where in the budget we could pull an annual payment for a loan of $2.5 million based upon the same qualifiers, the interest rate and all that kind of stuff. Right. So we've already identified that. So this board can feel comfortable knowing that we've already identified the money to be able to make the payments.
That's good. Thank you.
Yes,
When we get close enough to do something that makes sense,
yes,
I think it's gonna be helpful to get a target number on the table. We'll change it if we have to, but left to our own devices, we will overbuild the hell out of that place.
Mhm.
Unless we've got some constraint,
right.
because there's always more needs, right?
Mhm.
And there's always more things the guys want, and there's always better equipment to get. And there's the window, what we really do need,
Mhm.
okay? And the only thing that ever stops us is financial constraints. So I don't want to do something cheap because, I want to do something right, but that's a pretty broad brush when you say, let's do the right thing.
Right.
If we have a number, even if we change it later, at least it kind of pushes us to make some compromises that we're going to have to make.
I think I think we have a great first step in having meetings so that we can get the collective thoughts of this board, provides a direction. Once we have that direction, I think we can kind of help narrow that number down.
Yeah, before we get the money, we gotta know what we're looking at first.
And would it be smart for us, this meeting we're gonna have, could we have it on site? And the reason I'm asking if we could do it on site is because then I could actually tape off some areas and show some of the commissioners that might not get the size of it. They'll see what,
As long as we don't disrupt the wedding.
well, and then I will find out once the chief gets, it's up to you, or the board, I should say. Would you guys like to meet on site so you can see what we're planning on putting, and then you could visualize what it is?
Yes, you can. So it can just be invited.
As far as a public meeting goes, the site has to be open to the public. It has to be accessible to the public. It has to have the amenities for the public. So you'll need to check on that
Okay.
when you're making that decision.
Then what we would need then is just a date, and then I would question Mike and say, hey, Mike, is it possible at this time, at this date, could we come in for an hour or 2 hours and discuss a few things?
Why can't we just go down as individuals and just take a look at ourselves? And just, as individuals go down, we can't go as a group because of like sunshine law violations, but down as an individual, just walk down and walk the property.
Yeah, but I wouldn't know what
Yeah, it wouldn't be a sunshine violation if the meeting is called there. You know, I mean,
I mean, if, I wouldn't know what I'm looking at unless he has it marked and he's saying, this is what I think,
right,
to me personally.
I agree, I agree.
I mean, I can look at the blueprint, but still, I'd rather.
I just think it'd be smart if we can get, if we can do it.
I'll speak with the chairman on what date might work, and then I'll coordinate that, everybody make sure that date's good, and then I'll provide you with the date, so that way you can coordinate it with
Thank you.
Mike, and if that doesn't work, then we'll find out what date does work for him, and I'll try to find out. We'll work it
I'll
out,
make it quick.
and then at the same time, we'll talk to DC and make sure that we're on the right track with having a meeting there.
Worst case scenario, we can get some pictures or something.
Exactly.
Something that we can.
It would be nice if we could make it happen.
If we can't, we'll do that, and then we've got the screens here that you can see, so it makes it easy.
Yeah, we got Google Earth and
Yeah,
all
we
that
go
stuff.
that,
So
We
We
can
can,
Well, I know a young man that's phenomenal with the video drill too.
I think.
I'm not that good of an operator, and a lot of people.
Bobby is.
Yeah, right, Bobby.
It's not Miss Bob, Bobby.
Yeah,
That's right.
All right, cool. Well,
Really good.
we'll figure that out, Chief, tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
All right. Next meeting, regular meeting scheduled for February 9th, 2021 at 5:30 PM here at 848 Airport Road.
So one other quick question.
Okay.
Where are we with the EMS issues?
That would be the chief, would be.
Okay,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the
Yeah, you
question.
can bring it up.
Where are we with the EMS issues? And I don't know if it's good time, bad time.
Yeah, we can talk about it anytime you like.
Cliff,
I will
We can wait
hope,
till the next meeting if you want.
okay,
That's fine.
yep, I prefer,
Yeah,
If
because
that's okay
I'd
with
like
the rest
to,
of the board.
I'd like to bring that up at the next one.
if that's okay.
Perfect.
Y'all don't mind.
I'm
Can you
all
make a
about
note that we'll add that on the agenda for next meeting?
Yes, I think that's.
that all right with you?
Mhm.
Good, thank you.
I just don't want to say anything out of place.
Yeah, no, next month is perfectly fine with me.
And I appreciate that. Okay, anything else from anybody else?
Nope.
Saying none, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
You got it.